Hello guys, this is your friend Naruto Fanfictions and we are back with a new fanfic. Which is what if Naruto was neglected and got harem with Kaguya Tsunade and Kushina Part 1. And if you enjoy this fanfic then please press the like button and subscribe to my channel for more fanfic like this. And now let's start the fanfic. It was beginning of the end. After the Shinobi Alliance fought Madara and his reanimated armies with teeth, nails, gutter or whatever they can spew on, the only thing that came out after that was the moon goddess herself, Otsutsuki Kaguya. Oh, how that day could get any better. Almost 99% of the army were trapped in infinite Tsukuyomi, a genjutsu that trapped anyone who even only glanced on the blinding light into their sweetest dream. No one could move their bodies after they saw the light. And if they thought that the worst part was their sense of helplessness, they hadn't seen the upcoming surprise. Their body also got wrapped by God Tree's roots, that blocked all their senses and slowly drains their souls. Oh, did they know their bodies will eventually turn into white zetsus? Just for the cherry on top of all of that, there's only one man stood between total annihilation or new start for humanity. Stood in 5 feet 10, with blonde spiky hair that got covered with dirt. His entire body also didn't do any better. With torn Junin vest, orange-black jacket that fluttered like a cloak with holes on it, black Anbu pants that already got cuts and burn marks on it which then looks more like a short than anything else. His face, however, showed the worst. Physically, many bruise mark and blood covered his face. For some reasons however, those whisker marks didn't show any sign of damage at all. His Hittite still adorned his forehead, although it already got beaten up to the point that even missing Nin Hittite looks like a brand new one. But none of those mentioned are even the worst one. And that reward goes to his eyes. With blood flowing through his eyes opened up. On the left is his Rinnegan, and on his right is his eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. Yes, Uzumaki Namikaze Naruto had to witness his best friend, Uchiha Sasuke stabbed himself and gave him his eyes because Sasuke almost certainly would die after extreme chakra exhaustion, with his last words are, to show the world that Uchiha will always be the elite, completed with, Dobi, remark for Naruto. Honestly, Naruto is just on verge on breaking point, with only Kurama pumping its chakra to the extreme, keeping his sanity. Naruto, please for the love of Kami, take a deep breath, throw away your sorrow for 5 minutes. You can cry across this barren of wasteland if you wish after this, said Kurama from his mindscape. I know, Kurama. I just want to quit. Everything that I lived to protect and cherish died or dying slowly. Ba-chan, Kakashi-sensei, Bushy Brow and Bushy Brow Sensei, Sakura-chan, Hinata-chan, Neji Iruka-sensei and even that Tem. Life would be meaningless if I can't even make them proud again. Said Naruto lowly. Kurama decided it had enough and yelled, and you are literally doing the thing right now. Do you think that those eyes of yours are just for self-pitying? Do you think all the cages that fought this battle want to see their only hope wallowing himself to death? Do you think Neji died just for you to give up? Get your face out of your ass and finish this properly. Who the air you. Naruto doesn't give a damn about odd. He doesn't bitch about quitting, about destiny and all of those crap, and he certainly doesn't give a shit about who he will be facing, as long as he can finish his job. You got one job here, and that's to win over this bitch. After hearing those words, Naruto just stood there and then unexpectedly, he chuckled. I guess I just lost my way, huh? He pondered loudly. Well, you always said to believe it, I just want to shove those words back to your face. Kurama said while laughed a bit. Reassuring himself, he tightened his Hittite and smirked. Thanks, Kurama, he said. Right back at ya, kid. Why did I get an uncomfortable feeling? Let's finish this, he said quietly and then charged towards Kaguya. Every ninjutsu, taijutsu, kinjutsu was unleashed by him, pushing himself to the limit. However, things are not going his way. Kaguya countered or evaded most of them, In the end, he appeared to be exhausted and more wounded than before, while Kaguya just stood there, appeared fine, although not unscathed. Just give up. To me, your chakra manipulation is a child play. Kaguya taunted. Even a child can hurt an adult. He roared and charged again. He charged his Rasenshuriken with all element manipulation that he knows of. The Rasenshuriken was able to hit her and sent flying away. However, due to prolonged fight, and Kaguya closed many of his tenketsus, he slumped down. In his mindscape, Naruto. Kurama yelled in shock and immediately tried to open up his tenketsus, just to find out that the tenketsu is closing down permanently. All that he could do is just slowing down the process. Naruto. Just try to survive. Don't do anything related about channeling your chakra or you can say goodbye to your sorry ass. Kurama commanded. But obviously, Naruto being a Naruto, just asked it to stop. Don't. Just. Don't. I know you can't open it up, your chakra is almost out, he said in rasped voice. His body was laying on the grass field. The grass field slowly crumbling to pieces. Please. Don't say that, Naruto. Just. Nay, Kurama, do you remember that, you want to be free, you can be now, live freely in this world, you will be the one, who witness the new age. No, Naruto, you just don't pull that card on me. After everything we've done, it shouldn't happen that way. It should be. I'm sorry, Kurama. Naruto said that and then closed his link to his mindscape. I will see you next time. On real time, Naruto opened his eyes while panting heavily. He knew that he only had less than 2 minutes to live. Then, he saw Kaguya, almost full of bruise and wound, hovering slowly towards him. Alright, it's now or never, Tsukuyomi. Of course, Kaguya caught the genjutsu and tried to reverse it towards him. What she didn't know was it was the whole point. Inside Kaguya's Tsukuyomi, Kaguya slowly approaching her prisoner. Just when she wanted to broke him, he did a series of hand seals. Memory projection jutsu. He yelled and then series of his life flashed at front of her eyes. And then she saw the whole picture of his life. Everything that he feels. Every rejection, every glare, every scorn, every horror in his life. Kaguya just stood there, dumbfounded. Unconsciously, few tears dropped from her eyes. How did you endure all of that? She said while trying to keep her tears on bay. As a mother, finding out that the man that fought have to spend his childhood beaten up, chased away, burned, poisoned, stabbed, betrayed, salvaging food from dumpster is just horrible. Because I have my precious person. He said and projected a memory of him and Sandaime Hokage eating ramen happily. And then, changed to Iruka, Gaara, Konoha 12, Jiraiya, Tsunade and Shizune, Kakashi, and then changed to other people from other villages. Finally, it ended with Sasuke. She watched the memory played. Again, she was dumbstruck. They're so similar between Hamura and Hagoromo's fight. She then openly wept, realizing how foolish she had been. The thought of Hamura killing himself to get out of her brainwashing and give his chakra to Hagoromo, only to kill him just so she could have her chakra for herself was sickening to her. She just realized that she had made the same mistake. She was supposed to be a goddess, but she's far from being a good example for their people. Then, another memory projected. This time, it was on Ichiraku's ramen right before the war. He was eating there while chatting happily with all his friends and teachers. And then he said, This is my idea of peace. Kaguya saw the memory and then felt what were they feeling. Although mixed with a bit of anxiety and sadness, it was a happy, joyful moment. Kaguya couldn't understand it. They were on verge of destroying their own peace, yet they're still eating like there's nothing to worry about. For me, eternal peace is not about how to fulfill every people's dream, it's about enjoying every moment with your loved one, the people you cherish the most. I can't ever deny that what I did might not be something I'm proud of. The memory then changed to his battle with Akatsuki's members and every people that he ever killed. But avoiding all those things is just waiting the problem to explode. We can't avoid negative things in our life. That's not because Kami-sama want us to suffer. No, I think those things help us found our peace. They make us realize no matter how small it is, a gesture like that can mean a world to other person. The memory changed again into Ichiraku's ramen. Kaguya then realized something. She has been chasing something that the very idea of it was to destroy another people's peace. The way she pitted her own sons to go against each other so she can have chakra all by herself, and now trapped another people in their own dream and turning them to soulless husk of themselves was disgusting. She felt stupid, helpless, ashamed, and angry to herself. She looked at the man in front of her. Here he is, dying in real time, yet he still wants to help a demon in goddess skin like herself to help her get over her own selfishness. For the first time in few millennia she lived, she cried. I'm sorry, she said as she hugged Naruto and cried on his chest. Naruto just slipped his hand and patted Kaguya's long, white hair, which was very smooth. Naruto just sighed and smiled melancholily. At least, after all of this is over, they can go back to how it used to be. He thought to himself. He then felt that his projection starting to fade. And then everything hit him. He caught Kaguya into a bone-crushing hug. She yelped in surprise. But then, she felt something wet on her shoulders. Naruto was crying. Why do I have to finish here? I haven't reached my dream, I haven't seen my friends for the last time, I haven't fulfilled all my promise, I just want to be recognized, I just want to see people smiling at me, Naruto said while sobbing. To said Kaguya as shocked was an understatement. She then felt an urge to hug him back. In few hours inside the Tsukuyomi, she already something inside of her want to see that man again, the one who comfort her and show her the peace in their messed up world. The man that went so far away just for his friend, a man that accept himself as who he was and all his flaws, and a man she felt strangely attracted to. Meanwhile, Naruto just cried his heart out. He spills all his pent-up ego, anger, disappointment, anger, and all of his negative thoughts and emotions. He was going to die, so the hell with it with all of his thought. He just wanted to be selfish right now. Sakura-chan will never love me, Hinata-chan died just for a lost cause that is me, for all they yelling that I will become a Hokage, even I failed at that, I just want to feel love again. That shook Kaguya's to her core. She never thought for someone with a heart as big as 5 elemental nations, he yearned for something so simple. He already lost everything in his life, and with Shinigami calling him to the death's door, he just wanted to feel needed by someone. And for some reasons, she felt her heart stirred. Her body moved against her will. She cupped his cheeks with her hands and did something unexpected. She kissed him on his lips. He was surprised when he felt something muffled his mouth. He was frozen for a second, before he started to run on her instinct. The kiss quickly turned into a tongue-to-tongue battle as they each want to look for the comfort of their partner's mouth. Both of them pour their feeling into that kiss. After around 20 seconds of that passionate making-out session, they both release their mouth, gasping for air while a string of saliva connected them. What was that for, Kaguya-hime? Naruto said while breathing heavily. He wasn't really sure what to call her. He knew that he might offended her by calling her that, but his mind said otherwise. The word just rolled through his tongue. It feels right to call this divine being in front of him that. Kaguya blushed a bit, hearing Naruto called her that. She felt all his emotions on that kiss. Even at this time, he still can be a man. He's so rough, yet so kind. He's so hungry, yet so delicate. He's so full of lust, yet so full of love. I just want to see that man again, the one who show me the world, the one who never take everything for granted, the one who will do anything for someone precious to him, the one who makes my heart feel this way. She said meekly at the end. She just can't deny her attraction towards him, so many aspects of his life intrigued her. She felt that she wants to be a part of his story. Never have she found a human full of stories like him. Well, And probably the idea of me dating a human is a bit funny, she thought while giggling. It's really strange that after a really long time passed, she finally felt like a woman again. Naruto, on the other hand, was blushing profusely. Holy shit, who expected a woman, let alone a goddess, was falling in love with him? Is this Kami-sama's idea of fun? Cashing all of his good deeds by allowing himself to date a goddess? Anyo, Kaguya Harem, are you sure? He asked nervously. He just hoped it's not a joke. Dying is okay on his. He's just wishing he's not going to die while also heartbroken. That question got answered by a chaste kiss on his lips. Does that answer your question, Naruto-kun? She asked with a sly tone. Naruto just blushed. Who thought that teasing him can be so much fun? Out of nowhere, a king-sized bed appeared in front of them. Caught the idea, Naruto lifted Kaguya bridal style and walked towards the bed. Kaguya was speechless. She just realized how warm his body was. How gentle his touch was, how his warm chakra surrounded her. She knew this kind of chakra. A chakra full of love. After they reached the bed, Naruto put Kaguya down to the bed and he immediately jumped to the bed and cuddled her. Oh, she didn't know that she was in for a surprise. His body heat, his gaze, his gesture, his everything melted Kaguya's heart. His hands snaked around her body and he was kissing her nape while his cerulean blue and coal-black eyes pierced her eyes and soul. Oh, how his touch was so innocent yet, so sensual. His kiss was light, yet so heavy. And his eyes, she can't even explain what was going on. They pierced her soul, lust and love orbs that she felt was stripping her. And she loved it. She wondered why the hell Kami Oni-sama didn't put this person as one of god or demigod. Nah, Naruto-kun, she said with a shy voice and blush that could make Hinata proud. I'm sorry, Kaguya-chan, I can't do more than this, he said weakly. Truth to be told, his chakra was most certainly out. After she opened her genjutsu, he might die instantly. If he was lucky, he could only have 1 minute to spare. He just can't bear to see Kaguya cried again. It's okay Naruto-kun, she said while enjoying what she was offered. Although she was a bit disappointed, this is better than nothing at all. They cuddled for a while until Naruto got into the side of the bed, sat there, and spoke, I wish I can go to another dimension. Kaguya followed him and sat beside him, confused. Nothing, Kaguya-chan. It's just, I wish I can survive this. Maybe me from another dimension was filling paperwork, you know. He chuckled, soon followed by Kaguya. Maybe he had 3 children, all of them with white hair and horns, or maybe whisker marks like him. Maybe he had a doting housewife that happened to be a goddess. Maybe he had his friends receiving tasks from him, he said and sighed dejectedly. Kaguya get into her thinking pose and said, I can do that. Naruto was flabbergasted. What? Really? Kaguya just laughed at his reaction. After it died down, she continued, yes, I can transport you to another dimension. While I was laughing at your face, Naruto pouted and Kaguya just chuckled, I found a dimension where you can get into your younger body. It's just that, she trailed off. What will happen, Kaguya-chan? He asked, readying himself to worst possibilities. Me from this dimension can't get you there. She said sadly. That broke Naruto. It's not that hard of a choice, died with Kaguya on his side or live on without Kaguya. He clutched Kaguya tighter and said in a weak voice, you know that's not an option, right? Of course, Kaguya also didn't want that. Hell, she would fight Kaguya from another dimension if it comes down to that. Well except. Right, the Ghetto Mazo statue. She said excitedly. What with the statue? He said, unconsciously clenched his teeth. We can use the statue as some sort of beacon. I can split half of my life force into you, so when you summon it, I can take over it and summon myself. She said excitedly. The problem is that it must be a full moon, otherwise I can only manifest myself as spiritual being. And it must be blue moon. she said dejectedly. Blue moon only occurred once in few hundred years. And Naruto being a human, even with her life force, might not held up that long. Naruto was thinking. To think about it, moon is such a strange thing to him. He had seen many colors of the moon. White is the usual one, yellow is when he could master Kurama's chakra, red when Jubi was about to be summoned, and blue. Right, it was the day he learnt Kage Bunshin no Jutsu and beat that Mizuki Tem. But, Kaguya-chan, will that dimension have any difference on astronomic? He asked, filled with hope. She was deep in her thought. Maybe difference in history and other aspects, but it should not change the astronomic. Yes, it could work. He pumped his fist to the air. They have a chance. Are you sure about that? Kaguya asked her, not believing that it might happen. Blue moon only occurred once every 100 years and it will change your appearance, so I think you. Before she can finish her explanation, she got kissed by Naruto. And then Naruto put his finger to shut her up. Shish, he said to her, gaining a blush from her, you already done so much to me, Kaguya-chan. You gave me happiness, you gave me hope, you gave a chance, you even gave literally half of your life to me. Let me do my part. I don't if it changed me into a monster. I don't care if I have to wait for 1,000 years. I will find a way. I will even beat that Kaguya for you. You can depend on me, you know. Believe it, he said convicted. Kaguya just laughed at that. That phrase was probably the only phrase that can be used by Naruto. And surprisingly, she found herself tends to believe that. She nodded. I'll believe in you. Thank you, my moon goddess. He said and then kissed her. Then something came across his mind. Wait, how about Kurama? I honestly don't really know. She said while looking down. My guess is if he was still in your body, he might integrate himself to my chakra. What would probably happen is that there will be power struggle. Either he kept his consciousness in his form or Jubi will replace him, she said, and she flinched, waiting Naruto to slap her or something. Instead, Naruto hugged her and said, it's not your fault that you can't do anything about it. I guess this is on me. I'll handle him then, he said and then kissed her cheek. I'll see you later, Kaguya-hime, he said, stealing his resolve. Don't worry, Kurama. I'll help you. See you later, Naruto-kun, she and then sighed, alright, here we go. Kai. In real time, immediately after the genjutsu has been released, Kaguya rushed to Naruto's side and starting to pump her chakra and life force. His body starting to glow green as she coated him with her chakra. His skin started to change into pale white, and then 2 horns started to appear from his forehead. Yin-yang release. Fusion of life. She yelled and then her life force was injected to him. His change ramped up exponentially. His body started to get taller, reaching into 6 feet 3. His muscle structure became a bit leaner. His hair grew a bit and the color changed into white with a hint of yellow. Veins around his eyes bulged, signifying that he got her dujutsu. His whisker marks also shortened a bit. Naruto's mindscape. Kurama was pounding the ground. And boy, he was mad. That baka used his chakra to use Tsukuyomi. How stupid he could be. He's just signing up for his own death. Naruto, why did you do that? Do you want to die? I know you can be stupid, but this is just ridiculous. He roared. He desperately pumped his own chakra into Naruto. But it was in vain. He was desperately clawed the grass field. Am I not your best friend? Am I not dependable? Do you only see me as Kyuubi and nothing fucking else like they do? Do you hate me? Do you never want to do anything about me at all? After the last remark, Kurama started to change. He was covered with light, and then slowly morphed into a humanoid form. And then, the light died down and there was a girl. That's right, Kurama turned into a girl. Gon was 80 feet 9-tailed orange fox, now she's only 5 feet 8, with long flowing crimson hair. She has a pair of fox ears and 9 fox tails that drop down. Her face is perfect with heart-shaped face and her eyes is crimson with a on it, which was closed down and pouring tears. Her body is also perfect, with G-cup, slim waist, and milky and smooth thigh with its fair share of muscle, complemented with red kimono with golden trims and fox symbol. She was epitome of beauty. Well, if one didn't consider her dropped down tails and ears, and tears pouring down like rain from her eyes. It's not supposed to go this way. I've been waiting for this whole thing to be finished. I've been waiting to manifest myself to you and showered you with love. I've been dreaming about us getting married, having our kids running around, while enjoying our peaceful life. I've been waiting to say, I love you, to you. You know what? Screw it. Oi, Naruto Baka, I love you. I never felt something strong like this, ever since Jubi were splitted up. I've never felt like this even after being contained in two people. You're the first and the only people I will give my life to. I'll gladly stripped off all of my power just to be with you. And for Sake, after you make me feel like this, Shinigami-sama decided that you're too precious and decided to call you. Why? Naruto, why? Answer my question. She just had enough. The only person that she will devote herself wholeheartedly was gone. The seal is started to crumble down, but she doesn't want to leave. To hell it is if she can entire eternity with Naruto. But then everything stopped. The mindscape started to rebuild itself. Kurama was shocked. Did he succeed to defeat Kaguya? Did he finally getting a medical attention that he desperately need? She was about to cry in happiness before the mindscape turned dark. She immediately stood up and prepared herself. Naruto wasn't there, yet the landscape changed. This can only mean he got attacked psychologically. What the hell is going on? Kurama thought. Then, there was a powerful roar. And then it appeared. Jubi has appeared inside Naruto's mindscape. Granted, it was only 150 feet tall. But it was Jubi nonetheless. Around them, a barren wasteland appeared, followed by mixture of natural disasters. What the hell? Kurama said before Jubi started to thrash around and attacked her. Even though her chakra is complete, doesn't mean taking on Jubi head on was a great idea. Her chakra might regenerate quickly and she can spew out jutsu here and there, but attacking Jubi with normal jutsu was like stabbing a kunai into 15 inches steel plate. Damn it, I have to run and try to charge my chakra, she thought while running around. Smaller version of Jubi started to appear and attacked her. Fortunately, they're easy to pick off. Though, they also interrupted her chakra regeneration. When she wanted to attack it again, Jubi started to open its mouth and gather his chakra. Kurama's eyes widened when she saw that. Shit, it's charging its Bijuudama. She yelled at herself before she gathered her chakra to charge her own. Both Bijudama were starting to gain their own sizes. After a minute, they're ready. Kyuubi was not looking forward to it. Hers might be bigger in size but Jubi's one is packed with denser chakra. And then they fired them. A beam lock happened. It was a tie between them. Well, before Jubi decided to pump more chakra into it, Kurama was slowly losing. The chakra she poured into her Bijudama cannot compete with denser and faster regenerative chakra of Jubi. Damn it, I am losing my concentration. I have to keep Jubi from whatever it was doing to Naruto, she thought. Under normal circumstances, she would think that fighting Jubi is just asking to get killed. But here she is, fighting a losing battle, just for sake of keeping Naruto from having to face Jubi inside his body. She slowly felt her consciousness slipping away. It was getting really hard to see what's in front of her. No, Naruto, she said weakly. She smiled sadly. Kami-sama really liked to mess with her, didn't she? She's losing the only precious thing to her. Tears started to slip again from her beautiful eyes. She thought that she would get her happy ending. How stupid it was. Of course Kami-sama won't give her just that. She's supposed to be a demon, a walking disaster. How could she thought about loving and being loved by someone else? Hell would freeze first before that. And she was right. Kami-sama liked to mess with her. Suddenly, she felt chakra flowed through her. The chakra was so dense and potent that's comparable to fully powered Jubi. She looked where the chakra came from and saw a man. Stood at 6 feet 3, with pale skin and white hair with a bit of yellow. His face was adorned with 2 horns and his eyes were closed. He was wearing a standard Junin uniform, except the white cloak with orange highlight. His palm is opening to her, transferring his chakra. Ha Hagoromo? She asked surprised. The person looks so similar like Hagoromo, and his chakra was on par or even better than him when he sealed Jubi inside him. I'm sad that you don't remember me, Kurama. I'm hurt, TT Ibeo. He said with a smirk. It struck her like a thunder. This person. Naruto. She yelled. The hell? How the hell was that supposed to be Naruto? He looks just like an Otsutsuki. He might be Ashura's descendant, but his chakra wasn't supposed to be that potent. Even his 9-tailed mode chakra wasn't that dense. And is that Rinne Sharingan on both of his eyes? Get your head back, Kurama. I will explain everything later. But first, he pointed to Jubi, that just recovered from the blast of Bijudama, that. She sighed and said, right. And started to attack with Biju-powered attack. Inwardly, she was flying on heaven. Naruto, on skin and flesh. And he's even more powerful than anyone she ever knew. Well, except Kaguya. Outwardly, she was smirking. Naruto's chakra had been proved to supercharge her attack and she actually felt that she did something to it. Wood release. Bind of the forest of God. He yelled as thousands of trees and uncountable numbers of vines and roots immobilized the raging Biju. To said she was shocked was an understatement. First, how does he have Mokuden? Second, how the hell it can bind the Jubi nonetheless? And finally, she never felt so much nature chakra passed through her. She didn't know why. Might be that his technique of Mokuden was different. Kurama, now, he shouted at her. She immediately charged her Bijudama. Again, she was dumbstruck by how powerful his chakra was. She never felt this amazing before, even in her beast form. She felt her chakra manifested into the definition of power. And then she launched it. A spectacular show happened. Every single thing around 300 miles should be destroyed, if it wasn't for Naruto that contained the blast. After the dust settled, they saw the body of Jubi, unmoving. But then, it started to levitate on air. They were prepared for another attack. Then, its body crumbled while Kurama felt a rush of power flowing inside her. Then, she was gulfed with light. Naruto wanted to rush to her side but stopped when he saw her body was morphing. The light then died out and then she appeared with some changes. Her hair now has lime green color. Her eyes was divided into 2 color, green on top with red bottom. Her kimono also changed a bit, now the symbol was mixed with tree symbol. The most noticeable one was her tail. Instead of 9, now she has 10 of them. Oi, Kurama, how do you? He was cut off by Kurama slapping his face. Baka. She screamed at him and then pounced him to the ground. She proceeded to slap him again. Baka. Baka. Baka, I hate you. She screamed on his face and broke down afterwards. Naruto, after seeing this, started to pat her head while brushing her hair. I thought you were dead. I thought you were gone. I thought you hated me so much you left me alone. I thought you're no different like all of them. I thought I wasn't good enough for you. Please Naruto, don't ever do that again. Don't ever leave me again. You're the only one I cherish the most. You're the one that bring me out from the pain and loneliness. You're my best friend, and the only person I fell in love with, the one who I wholeheartedly devote myself to. Please. Don't make me feel that pain again, she said with her voice choked by tears. And then she felt a hand on her chin. It lifted her face up and then she felt something warm on her lips. Naruto was kissing her. She answered with the same fervor. She was looking for comfort, reassurance, and love. After they both gasped for air, she looked at his face and tears started to swell up. It really is Naruto. She wasn't dreaming. Naruto then used his thumb to wipe away her tears while still brushing her hair and said, "I'm sorry. Kurama-chan, I never thought you ever seen me that way. You're always my brother and my best friend, the one who's always be there for me and look after me, but if you see me that way and you want me to walk beside you," he embraced her tightly, "I will never let you go, I will make you forget all the pain, and never thought about yourself as a monster, a demon. Nobody precious to me was a demon to me," he said, and then they kissed again. After a fairly passionate makeout session, Kurami decided to ask him what happened. He explains everything about Kaguya, why did he look like an Otsutsuki, the time travel and his relationship with Kaguya. He was actually scared to told her that. A thought of a woman cried because something they aren't in control of pained him so much. What shocked him was her response to their relationship. "That's something that I and Kaguya have to finish by ourselves. But to be honest, I know that her answer might be the same with me. You never played favoritism. You never see a woman from their look only. You never thought about how to be wanted by women. You want to take your time and listen to someone's problem. And there are so many reasons that sharing you is the best of both worlds. And besides, if someone deserve love, it's you," she said confidently. Naruto can only blushed, invoking a giggle from her. They decided to spend a day with her, cuddling in the middle of grass field. In real time, Kaguya saw that his body fully accepted her life force. After the glow died down, she immediately put her hands on his head and stomach. "Space-time release. Anomaly of Chronos," she said, and suddenly, a blinding light appeared from his forehead. The light ran across his body and engulfed it. After that, he was gone. No trace of him or left. "See you later, Naruto-kun," she said weakly with a smile before she released everyone from God Tree's root and disappeared. After what felt like an eternity, Naruto's soul got into his new body. The good thing is that the soul transfer went without a hitch. The bad thing was when he entered his body, his entire body screamed in unison. They screamed in pain. "Fuck." He muffled a scream. "Holy shit, it burns. No, it's sickening." What the was going on with his body? It felt like being tortured in a Tsukuyomi for an entire month. Kurama immediately reacted, pumping her chakra into his body. She was once again surprised by the magic that is Kaguya's life force. If someone thought that Naruto's regeneration power was ridiculously fast, this is on the whole other level. How in the hell he managed to fix every tenketsu, organ, muscle tissue, blood loss, infection, and all of the harmful thing in the world in just 10 seconds. Holy shit, that was some extreme regeneration right there. She yelled inside his mind, surprised. While all of that happened, it seems like his pain receptor started to calm down as the pain started to subside. Okay, what the was that? He thought. He groaned a bit. What was that? He was just getting his soul into his body. That shouldn't intensify his pain in his previous body. But that means that his new, or old, body just got beaten up pretty badly. But the surrounding wasn't in chaos and everything but him's is all good and home. His head snapped up as his brain started to work. This only means one thing, a certain bad memory started to pop, and this place seems familiar. He used Shunshin and saw what's going on. Far away, he saw lights. Colorful lights anywhere, the most dominant one was yellow. He put a little of his chakra into his ears, and his ears heard a lot of happy voices, but many of them are filled with malice, pride, or arrogancy. He put his chakra into his eyes, and his Rinne Sharingan with 9 tomos and 6 ripples in his eyes appeared, with the tomo spinning furiously. Then he saw everything that was happening in there. Day of Miracle, Hokage's testament of power, the demise of the fox hunt, he thought. He sighed with sadness all over his eyes, but inside he was a bit glad. Yes, he had to relive the moment of being chased by mob and got yelled various call name that was associated with demon, or Kyuubi brat, which that he thought about it, aggravated him more because they were talking about Kurama that way, rather than being hunted to death by those villagers. Don't worry, Naruto-kun. She said with a melodious and soothing voice, let you the only one who know the real me. Thanks, Kura-chan. When you put it that way, it makes me feel that I'm special. Naruto thought, his chakra emanating happiness that she can feel, but then it mixed with a bit of lust, surprising her before he said with a huskier tone, thought if you say it too much, I might have to cast genjutsu on you so only I can see you all for myself when you're out of this seal. Kurama, who was blushing a bit because of the way Naruto called her, was now blushing furiously. Damn, what the was inside Kaguya's life force. 1,000 ways to tame a biju, in a more pleasurable way. Millennia worth of seduction technique. Whatever the hell it is, it made her blush so red that Hinata would be jealous. Naru-kun, she said while blushing. Who thought a boy with no experience of the game of love just shot a biju through her heart, figuratively. Naruto just chuckled at her reaction. He never got to do all of those things in his previous life, only when he realized that despite all of the power and fame he could get, he just wanted love. He also was a bit reluctant to told those lines in his previous life. But now, starting new and with two of the most beautiful and powerful women on his side that most importantly, love him by all of their heart, he found a new resolve in his nindo. I'll do everything in my power to protect what's precious to me. You better believe it, he shouted on top of his lung, big grin plastered his face. Kurama from inside the seal, just smiled and said, I believe you will. Right, back to this. He thought and slapped both of his cheeks and then he asked Kurama, Kura-chan, did you feel your yin or yang chakra anywhere around? Hold on for a second. Kurama said and then sent a Yukai impulse to a radius around 200 miles. She then felt two feedback. One from her yin and one from her yang chakra. They were steady, not being used or pumped. That means whoever held her chakras in this dimension were safe. The strange thing was that it came from two girls, and the even stranger thing was that there was no trace of her soul in them. I felt them. Whoever held my chakra were safe. She said to him, while her mind pondered about the possibility. Well, that's a good thing then. He said relieved, before his mind processed the info and then he was surprised, wait, them. I thought if I held either one of your chakras, there should be only one. Is it possible to split the chakra more? Actually, she said matter-of-factly, I can be split into 3 parts, that's my yin and yang chakra, and also my soul. From what I can concluded is that you in this dimension got my soul. She said before her face warped into confused face, but who the hell in the name of Kami-sama that split the soul from their own chakra? She asked to none in particular. Surely, Minato can't be that dumb, right? He might not be a Jinchuriki, but when you know you can split a biju into 3 parts, he should have known that without a soul, it is just going to be a time bomb, waiting to take over whoever held them when they overloaded their chakra network with her Yukai. What do you mean, Kura-chan? He asked Kurama. He was new to things about biju. Simply because that he never put too much thought about it. He also made a mental note to split some of Shadow clones to do more learning. I'll explain it, Naru-kun. She said in serious tone, did you know why your chakra control when you're younger is so bad that doing Bunshin is just as hard as when you were trying to make a Rasengan when you first learn it? Naruto just nodded dumbly. You also knew that you had me and my yang chakra sealed into you, right? He nodded again. The reason that your chakra control was shot when you're younger was partly because of my soul was inside of you. Your yang chakra tried to accommodate my yang yuki that it totally blown of the proportions of your yin and yang chakra. And another thing is I was controlling how much yuki that I can infuse into your body. Well, at first, it was being controlled by the seal. But when you went with that perv to control your yuki, I purposely tuned down the yuki so it won't harm your body, or worse, took over your body without neither you or me in control of it. She said a bit solemnly in the end. Once again, Naruto was taken back. He didn't realize how hard Kurama had to suppress her overwhelming amount of chakra until he was strong enough to took over it. He was grateful, That even when they're supposed to be in love-hate relationship, Kurama still doing something to keep him alive as his prisoner. But wait, if what she said was true, why the hell did Minato risk this much of a risk? And it doesn't seem to be necessary at all, as Naruto remembered that when he synced his young Yuki and Minato's Yuki, they reverberated with each other, with Naruto as the initiator. What if I only have the soul though? Will it do anything to my body? Naruto asked. Kurama got into a thinking pose and said, to be honest, I don't see any disadvantages or harm will come to you. Hell, I think the soul is the safe bet. Sure, you won't have chakra the size of a cage right of the bat, but as the Biju got more access, assuming it has the same sealing technique as you, the Jinchuriki will retain its chakra proportions, while the Biju can manifest Biju cloak faster because they don't have different coils. Even with other sealing technique, Biju will naturally absorbs nature chakra, expanding their Jinchuriki's chakra coils alongside them. She said. She just didn't get it. Naruto was the same. It seems like he has the biggest advantage compared to the holders of Kurama's chakra. It doesn't make sense other than he held Kurama's, so they both came into the same conclusion. This wasn't about the advantage in battle. It was all diplomatic. People will tend to believe that the one that have Kyuubi's soul is the reincarnation of the Kyuubi herself, while people will willingly look another way if they're told that they only had the chakra, which only means more popularity because instead of demon, they will saw a ninja with enhanced ability. Who holds your chakra? And can you pinpoint the location? Naruto asked while trying to calm himself. He knew that he's not going to like the new, nor what caused all of this to happen. What kind of game that his, Tsunade, was playing. Kurama sent an impulse again to pinpoint their location. It was near Hokage Tower, the clan district. A particular location that all seemed so familiar. There. She mentally pointed. Naruto looked at the direction, a two-story house that seems different because of its modern architecture. He activated his Rinne Sharingan to see the building. The aesthetic of the building only reminds him a certain house. TT2-san's house. He thought, shocked by what he saw. No, it can't be. He immediately made 3 shadow clone and instructed them to head towards their location. He ran through all of the possibilities, many of them are dark, but hit home a bit too close. He didn't want to think about it. With his better judgment, he processed those feelings to be more logical. Another of Kaguya's doing. He was sure that if this happened to him before Kaguya's life force was given to him, he might snap and came to the house personally. He calmed himself down, tried to keep unbiased view of the problem. Kurama, on the other hand, was a mess. Pissed, angry, and disappointed. She already knew where this was going to. Why the Minato had a heart to do something like this? Why did Minato even dare to think about it? Why this Minato is just another Danzo in making? What the happened to Kushina? And, how in the world Kushina, even in the darkest part of her heart, even consider something like this? 5 minutes after that, Naruto felt the shadow clones popped. And everything came crashing down. His family. Alive. 8th. Party. Big party. Happy. Minami. Kasumi. Naruto. Miracle. Training. Kyuubi. Power. He was boiling with anger. His own family pulled all of that shit. While he was dying here, they were having a FC King party. Where he was alone in the forest, they were surrounded by clan heirs and their representatives and all their friends. When Naruto got treated like shit, his sisters were basically a royalty. Where he was suffering because of Kurama's death, his dad received all the gift and all the praise. When he was beaten up by being Kyuubi's brat, his sisters were hailed as best Kunoichi's Konoha will ever produce, and also promised a training regime to control their power, and while their son was in hell, his family doesn't even remember that he was even the part of family. Screw all of that shit, all of them will. His anger immediately subsided for 2 reasons. First, Kurama was frantically trying to calm him down and emit her chakra around him, calming him. Kurama immediately pulled him into the mindscape. Another one was a strange one. In the mindscape, not even realizing what was going on, Naruto immediately felt warm feelings surrounding him. His eyes snapped into the source of comfort. It was Kurama, embracing him, all while brushing his hair and tried to comfort him. Shish, she whispered softly to his ear, I know you're angry. I know you're pissed that your family abandoned you. Please just let it go. You're better than them. If you destroy this village, no matter how much I want to, it will just destroy what we had been doing, she said softly. Of course, she knew that all of that was bullshit. She even felt a burning rage blazed inside of her. But seeing Naruto like that, snapped her out of that rage for a bit and went to comforting him. Naruto, on the other hand, just felt his emotions died away. He couldn't find himself to be mad at them. He felt that his rage was unfounded. Something inside him stopped whatever trigger it had. Thinking about it again, he's more disappointed that his family doesn't even mention his name or existence at all. He knows that he should be angry and lashed out on them, make them feel the wrath of him, which is obviously a fricking walk in a park, considering he managed to win against Jubi, while not counting his experience in 4th Shinobi World War. No, he couldn't pull the trigger because he was missing something. He was missing the feel of a family. I don't think about them as my family, he thought to himself. Of course, he doesn't. Practically growing for 18 years without any family with blood relations, make his psychology rejected the idea of them being a family. His mind already engraved that he had no family relation with anyone, except Jiraiya and Tsunade as his godparents, Ichiraku family, and Sandaime Hokage as his, Gigi. Even with his parents in the seal, those still can't offset his need of familial love. When he tried to think about his family, he can't find them. He then remembered the time in Infinite Tsukuyomi, he felt loss. Out of place. He didn't feel their love as a family. The warm feeling he got there feel strange. Like that small part of his mind just rejected the thought of them as a family. His mind was already set. He never had a blood-related family, nor could he take someone to claim themselves as his family, even his own blood family. Thank you, Kura-chan. I don't know what would I do without you, he said to her as he grabbed her other hand. Anything for you, Naru-kun, Kurama said to him. For his every thought, she heard their whispers and saw the snippets. After a few minutes, he recomposed himself. Ready to face his problems, he inhaled deeply. Then, he pulled out of his mindscape. Real time. Naruto opened his eyes, Rinne Sharingan still glowing. Putting 3-layer of high-powered genjutsu that even Mangekyo Sharingan could only ever hope to even break, he started to shunshin towards his old apartment. Naruto's apartment. When he arrived in front of his apartment, he immediately ran to his room. When he opened the room, he felt home. He shed a tear. This run-down, shitty, cheapest, lowest of the low, unhospitable, and crappy apartment, will always be where Uzumaki Namikaze Naruto started his journey. Feeling tired of all his journey, he immediately slumped down to his bed. Inside his mindscape, he found himself cuddling with Kurama. He decided to enjoy it. After a while, Naruto decided to do his job. Right, how could I forget? I don't even know how I look, Naruto exclaimed. He was so occupied by his thought that he forgot to check whether he looks normal or not. Oh, why did you ask that? She said seductively to his ear, you looks like lust reincarnated. She cooed. Oh my Kami, he doesn't how he looks, how this Adonis looked. Her body shuddered after the thought of him. Every thought of him fired an urge to just take this Kami in front of him and ride him to the sunset. How his figure towered her and make her body feels weak. How every muscle of him looked and screamed to her to feel. How his lavender-colored eyes hypnotize her, pierced her mind. How his white blonde, untamed hair showed his ferociousness and tenacity of a seasoned shinobi. How his pale skin shows divine and mysterious feeling. And how his face structure was a perfect mix of boyish cuteness with handsomeness, again because of Kaguya's life force infused into him. Seriously, How could she alter his appearance into this level? Naruto blushed when he heard the compliment. It never strikes him that he actually looks good. He's just content with doing anything on his whim. Even now, he doesn't really care. Years of being sought as dead last and a demon, he never got his hope up to flatteries, let alone compliments. Those usually will lead to arrogance, and arrogance was fall for mankind. But being complimented like that, he was happy. A heartfelt compliment like that makes him want to push even more of his limits. Thanks, Kura-chan, he said with a small smile. Kurama just smiled back at him. Right. Ice release. Demonic mirroring ice crystal. A mirror made of ice appeared in front of him. He checked his appearance. Overall, nothing that he could say too overwhelming, except the horns on his forehead, signifying Otsutsuki blood flowing in him. He doesn't remember being this tall though. So this is how I look, he murmured. Then, he used his perfect henge, or better known as Warok no Jutsu, due to how he used it. Nobody ever knew the secret of his henge. Real transformation, not just illusion, which greatly improved the stealth capability in it. He never used it too much due to him being in assault team, where stealth isn't the main point of the team. After a poof and the smoke dispersed, and damn, he was shocked. What the hell? How am I supposed to cover the immediate growth spurt? He said to himself, wondering how he could lie his way to people. He can't go beyond that, but this was ridiculous. Who the going to believe him that he was the same idiot they always hated? He stood in 4 feet 11, way taller than a typical 8 years old. And his body structure, although slim, anyone who's Junin will immediately know the hidden muscle behind it. Hell, even his horns can be disguised. How the he could cover all of this crap without having the mob chasing him again, saying that the demon started to get stronger. He can only cover it with something so oversized that it's not noticeable. Wait. Of course he knew the answer. He looked at Kurama with a knowing smirk. Kurama then felt dread spreading inside her body. No, not that monstrosity. The orange jumpsuit. They both yelled in unison, but with different emotion. He was excited. He finally can be one again with his beloved orange. Who would thought it would save the world? Oh, his beloved orange jumpsuit. If someone asked who praised his beloved jumpsuit as they worship the log, he's the one. Orange jumpsuit, his lord and savior. Kurama was not looking forward to this. The monstrosity have to be the one. Who in 5 elemental nations could even fathom the idea of making that thing? Sure, her fur was orange and she knew Naruto loves orange, but that thing is the most hideous thing humankind could even hope to show her in 200 miles. It screams, I'm so dumb to be a ninja with this. It was so bad she was raging inside her seal, even when they still hate each other, which was saying something about that thing. She's even madder now. Her Naru-kun, god among mankind, Adonis in flesh, alpha of alpha, and most importantly, his beloved jailer, lover is going to wear that monstrosity again. Yes. No. They both yelled. Out of nowhere, his outfit changed into the orange jumpsuit. Why? Kami-sama, why? She cried. Oh, how the monstrosity even dared to touch her Naru-kun, let alone wore by him. How those orange covered all his well-toned muscle. How those orange screams, I'm idiot, please kill me again and again. Naruto was just grinning a shit-eating grin. He can be with his beloved jumpsuit again. How he missed the warmth of it. How he missed the oversized bagginess of it. How he loved its screams, Naruto. But deep down, they knew that he could get better outfit modeled after his jumpsuit. Kurama, putting aside her own opinion, knew why his choice of this jumpsuit was not on the whim. She knew that by establishing him as an idiot, that bastard would underestimated him. This will also established himself as unpredictable and always craving for attention. This would also allow him to manipulate others that he wished to keep, by showing the real him. Although it seems manipulative, she knew that whoever got their interest in the real Naruto means that they at least give a damn about his life. Also, With her ability to sense negative intentions, it was basically a perfect scheme to get a real friend. Although if he wanted to, he could just use Tsukuyomi or command them with Koto Amatsukami. I know you hate it with every fiber of your soul, Kura-chan. He said with a bit of sadness, but this is the only way I know to do anything at all. I still don't know what's going on here. Are my family really like that? Do they hate me that much? Are they being manipulated? I have so many questions that needs answers. If I came out as me when I was younger, Minato wouldn't suspect anything I do in Clan District. Please bear with it, okay? Once I found another way, I will immediately change it. He said with a conviction. Kurama felt stupid. Just because of his jumpsuit, he had to promise her. He never complained about all the torture he got to her, yet just 2 pieces of clothes made such a fuss. Even though she knew that he was just happy having his jumpsuit back, she can't help but feel hate towards it because how many troubles it caused. It made every fox hunt a short work, usually ended up with Naruto almost dying again. Even though he could outrun and hide from Anbu, once they knew his location, he's basically an orange flare running at high speed. And flare can also run out of its power, just like him. I'm sorry, Naru-kun. But I don't want to see you got hurt again by those villagers. She said, ears and tails dropped down. Naruto just smiled. So that's the actual reason why she hated it. He thought as he nodded understandingly. Naruto then zipped down his jacket and enveloped it on Kurama's shoulder. She was surprised by immediate warmth that surrounded her. And then he hugged her. Don't worry about it, Kura-chan. As long as I have you and Kaguya-chan, I will be fine. He said soothingly. After a while, he broke off the hug and said, alright, Kurama. Can you tell me how much chakra I have? He said as he put his hands into Ram's seal and started to pump his chakra. Kurama then started to feel the amount of chakra being released. If I have to say, you have as much chakra as right before you could control my Yuki. The thing is, your chakra is more potent and perfect chakra control makes it looks like you in 9-tailed beast mode. If you add my chakra, let's just said your Jubi in first form, she said. He was surprised. Holy shit. Perfect chakra control combined with better chakra. That amount of chakra was ridiculous. With all of that, he has the same reserves as the Sanbi, without Kurama's chakra. Combined with Kurama's chakra, and he could easily level an entire nation with it. Oh damn, that's what he could only said. Kurama just giggled at his reaction. But that's not all, Naru-kun. She said teasingly, holding her words. He's getting anxious. Is there something better than that? I only tell you how much chakra you have now. If it was back into you original, she said, baiting him. What? He asked, excitement and anxiousness mixed together. You have more chakra than every shinobi combined from the Warring States period until the end of 4th Shinobi World War combined. Including all Biju, creatures, summon. You name it. Only Kaguya probably has more than you, but if you trained more. She didn't even finish the sentence before Naruto did the only thing a person overloaded with information does. He fainted. On the other side of the village, a woman, in her 30s, was searching something, or rather someone has a long, raven hair. She was wearing a black, short kimono that ended on her knee, completed with heeled ninja sandals. On the back side of the kimono, there was a symbol of a fan, signifying her clan affiliation. She has a beautiful face, which was an envy of many women, and she has a body curve of a seasoned kunoichi. D-cup, slim waistline, long legs, with their fair share of muscle. This is Uchiha Makoto, wife of Fugaku Uchiha and mother of Itachi and Sasuke. One wonder what the hell she was looking for in the middle of forest, on the middle of the night. Of course it was an easy question. She was looking for her little ball of sunshine. An enigma. She was looking for Uzumaki Namikaze Naruto, or rather Uzumaki Naruto. Naruto-kun, where are you? She thought in panic. All kind of scenario appeared in her mind. Kumo just attempted to kidnap Hyuga Hinata and one of the Uchiha for their breeding stock. What if they caught the wind about Naruto, the combined DNA of Namikaze and one of the last Uzumaki? Iwa was also still bitter about their loss to the Yellow Flash. What if Iwa decided to get their revenge and killed one of Namikaze just for their satisfaction? Or worse, what if some pervert manipulated him and used him for their own pleasure? No, she can't let all that happen to him. Over her dead body. There were so many reasons why Makoto was scared shitless about him. Everyone wondered why the matriarch of the Uchiha and the best friend of Hokage's wife never really talked about those two prodigies, especially recently, where she aggressively trying to avoid the topic altogether. Well, it started 3 years ago. Flashback. Makoto wasn't having a good day. Itachi, once again, was on mission. Where she thought that she would play or teach something with Sasuke, Fugaku decided to crash her plan and teach him, which was consisting of 10% of actual training and 90% indoctrinating their son to become obsessive prick like every single man in their clan. She, and many female Uchiha in particular, despised the teaching of Curse of Hatred. It reduced the meaning of life as a human, and turned people into arrogant, bloodthirsty, and power-hungry person. It reduced the Sharingan as their tools to protect, into tools of destruction that was thirsty of blood. Everyone was racing to unlock the next level of Sharingan, instead of training to protect their loved ones. Everyone was trying to learn jutsus and technique by stealing them, not by learning them by step. Everyone was worshipping the Sharingan as the holy tools, instead of lesson of life about someone's trash as someone's treasure. This was the basic teaching of her ideology, dubbed by many of the followers circle of life. Back to the topic, she decided to have a dinner outside. She knows that Fugaku probably doesn't care about her well-being as long as their needs are fulfilled. She decided to wear a modest blue dress and sandals. She decided to eat at Ichiraku's. There, unsurprisingly, she found Kushina eating like there's no tomorrow. Surprisingly, she was alone. "Hey, Kushina-chan, long time no see." She greeted Kushina. The reed head turned around and her eyes sparkled. "Oh, Miko-chan, I missed you," she said excitedly while still eating, more precisely inhaling her food. Makoto ordered a miso ramen and then they chatted. They talked about everything. Gossips, news, jutsu to the old time, when they were still young. She felt happy. Usually with the kids, there are some topics that she doesn't really want to talk, especially about war. Then something immediately crossed her mind. She remembered that Kushina have 3 kids. She knew Kasumi and Minami, as they meet every 2 weeks or so. But, she never even heard of her other child. What was his name again? Right, Naruto. There must be something wrong about her memory, because how could she forget about Kushina's kid? "Kushina-chan, how's Naruto?" she asked, trying to make a new topic. Oh, how wrong was she and how her anger boiled. Kushina started to berate it about her own fricking son. Saying words a mother should not even think of. Idiot, troublesome, attention seeker, annoying, noisy, stupid. Those words got repeated so many times that she got angry to herself. How in the world is this Kushina she knew? Kushina never talked bad about her friend, let alone berate her own son. Kushina always preached her and their friends about will of water to them, the teaching about how family is the most important thing without exception, not saying her own son was stupid and looking for attention, or disturbing her and her daughter's time. Decided to investigate the matter into her hand, she excused herself from the stands. She put any money she found in her purse, not caring how much it was. Frankly, she was holding herself to just punch Kushina in the face. She walked towards Namikaze residence, stomping the ground lightly and Sharingan flaring in her eyes while the tomo spinning furiously. Something was wrong, very wrong with Kushina. And she was about to find out. Well, that was the plan before someone put a chakra suppression seal on her back and dragged her into an alley. She tried to scream but her cry was muffled. He saw three men that was looking at her lecherously. They said all bad words that would destroy her dignity as kunoichi and a woman. She struggled to break free. But with her hands and feet bound and chakra was blocked, she could only do one thing. She cried. She cried that she would have to go through this. She cried because she knew that her family won't give a damn about her. She knew that the elders would throw her away, saying an S-rank kunoichi was reduced into a plaything of those scums. She cried because Fugaku would just look for another woman, in another loveless marriage. She cried because she would never feel a real love. Then something makes one of the hands let go of her body. And then another, and another. She then felt her binding was cut, although she swore that those kunais might stabbed her accidentally. Then, she felt her chakra was back into her body. She turned into the direction where her savior is, only to be surprised to see a yellow blur. Instinctively, she tried to keep up with the yellow blur. But alas, after so long without intense physical training, she could only handle so much running. After she got a bit of her stamina back, she decided to shunshin towards the last known location. She tried to detect any significant chakra signature, only to found a faint unique chakra that was near training ground 44, the forest of death. She teleported there and saw the most heart-wrenching and heartbreaking scene. A boy, no older than 5, was just tortured. His body was burned, stabbed, poisoned, cut, twisted, broken, whatever the word that described his pain. His mouth was open, as he tried to scream but fell to the deaf ears. The scene was just straight up T&I quality that would make even Morino Ibiki thinks twice. But, what truly the top of the cake was his blonde hair, soaked in the blood. The color was so unique, she only knew a person that had them. But, it was definitely not Minato Namikaze. Naruto-kun, she said as tears started to drop from her eyes. As a mother, she cried. How could someone even think this is even human? How could someone do this to a child? How could someone torture this 5-year-old boy that was trying to scream for help? As a friend, she was pissed. How could Kushina doesn't find out about this? How could Kushina was not running to his side to check on him? How could Kushina let this even happen in the first place? Decided to save those questions for later, she grabbed his body and shunshin to hospital, hoping for emergency treatment. The next day, she just realized how wrong she was. She had already witnessed 3 attempts of murder from assassination attempts which she could fend off, 5 from nurses which can be prevented because of her keen intuition. And 2 from the doctors who she found tried to overdose him with drugs. She was really angry that these people who swore to heal and nursed other back to normal, were trying to kill him, not only once. They readily gave up their oath and honor to their own fear, just because he's something that he's not. These people are the same people that she fought for in Third Shinobi World War, tried to murder a 5-year-old because of their own obliviousness. And believe it or not, he was the one who saved her from those scums, matriarch of the Uchiha clan. Not that she cared about that title, just a testament of how good-hearted this boy is. When she heard his groan, she went to his side. Good morning, Makoto-sama. Is there anything particular that I can help you with? He said with a tone of obedience. Makoto groaned a bit. She hated that shit-eating politeness that people only used to get to their goals. No need to be tense, Naruto-kun. She put her palm in stopping gesture, you can be more relaxed. Ah, okay. He just grinned sheepishly and scratched his hair. Thank you for everything, Makoto-san, he said. She smiled a bit. She doesn't know why, but it felt right. No problem, Naruto-kun. But if you want, could you tell me what's going on? She asked. Then, he started talking about everything he comfortable to share with. About the mob, about how he saw her and tried to use kunai in real battle. How those kunais were supposed for self-defense. But when he was asked about the reasons, he tensed up. He doesn't want to lose another friend again. Why you want to know? He asked, frightened. He was not stupid. He knew he held Kyuubi's soul. Every single conversation like this always caused him to lose more friend in his life. He tried to avoid this topic like a plague. But he was caught like a deer in the headlight. Because I don't believe that they were chasing you for some reasons. She said, although she already knew the answer was, were you stealing from them? Causing troubles with their kids? Or is it because of your tenant? After hearing that, he immediately broke down. He told everything to her. How the villagers always called him demon, or Kyuubi's incarnation. How his mother hated him, how his father ignored him, and the only lifeline he had was his sisters. Even they were always busy training, while he was left to rot to death. But the most shocking one was when he thought that everything that happened to him was because that he wasn't strong enough, good enough for his parents, while his sisters always got praised and every single thing they want was fulfilled. Makoto heard every single word and locked it into her mind. She can't believe Kushina turned into a fangirl of Minato, following every word that he said. Minato wasn't any better, the bastard was manipulative son of a bitch. The bond they had was destroyed that day, save for a tiny speck of doubt that she left for Kushina. After that, he started to told his dream and wish. And her heart broke when she heard his wish. I want to have something dear in my life, so I can protect them and have something to fight for. Makoto just wanted to cry, in admiration and sadness. By saying that, he implicated that he doesn't have anything. But even after the shit he's been through with the villagers and his family, his heart was so kind. Pure. Untainted. He wants to love someone and protect them, just to feel any affection. It might not sound selfless like a superhero, but to Makoto, it sounds a lot. It makes her remember about Madara Ojii-sama, she said in a low voice. Nobody in her clan seems to remember where she really was from, and people certainly don't know about her heritage. She's the granddaughter of Uchiha Madara, the most powerful, despised, hated person in shinobi history. Nobody knows that Madara survived their infamous battle in Now Valley of the End. After their encounter, he activated his Izanagi and was planning for revenge. Unfortunately, that plan was foiled. Not because he couldn't do it, but he fell in love. Yes, the infamous leader of the Uchiha, the bloodthirsty, cold-blooded, ambitious Uchiha Madara fell in love with, ironically, an Uzumaki. Not any Uzumaki, mind you, but Uzumaki Mina, older sister of the famous Uzumaki Mito. Unexpectedly, they had a normal, happy life near the border of Uzu no Kuni, which is now the Wave Country. Makoto's dad was killed when he was protecting Uzushiogakure, while her mom was a Junin of Konoha. Because of that, Makoto was closer to her grandparents. That's why her ideology was so similar to Will of Water of the Uzumaki, but different because of her grandfather view in it. They are also the reasons she's the only Uchiha that was bordering SS rank. Of course, with the Uchiha precursor and the older sister of the most famous Uzumaki, who might not be Uzumaki Mito, but still, a level 9 seal master, the only thing she need was something like the massacre of Iowa to be officially an SS rank. Back to the topic, Makoto remembered every single talk with her grandparents, especially with her grandfather. Every time she heard her grandfather's story, she can't help but feel awed by his story. But later, she realized that most of the time, his grandfather would end the story with a sire dejected smile. One time, she asked the reasons why he always looked so sad. And for the first and the last time in her life, he saw her grandfather cried. He then proceeded to told her that he always regretted to lead the Uchiha to worshipping the curse of hatred, always regretted that if he could discover love sooner, he could lead the Uchiha into a better clan, instead of arrogant, elitist clan. She always remembered his story. A man so powerful that he was controlled by his arrogancy and ambition, only to found his flaw and cried in the end. She remembers her promise to her grandfather that she will change the Uchiha. After that, his grandfather always had a smile on his face, unburdened. Even until his end of life, where Makoto got something a kind of heirloom. Uchiha Madara's left eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. She was so shocked back then. How couldn't she? The most powerful Sharingan that could even control Kyuubi. But, her grandfather only said that it was a sign of peace. That even the wielder of the most powerful Sharingan that was filled with never-ending history filled with blood could change. But after that, her life went downhill. She was accepted as a ninja of Konoha, but then war started, she got married into loveless relationship with Fugaku, birthed Itachi, war, peace, birthed Sasuke, debating, and debating. Finally, she was here. After a bit of the flashback, she hugged him. This boy, no, this young man here need love. She began to comfort him, and after a bit of checking around the room and confirmed there was no memory storage seal, she began to tell the legend of Uchiha Madara and her story about her grandfather to him. When she ended her story, he said something unexpected again. Maybe you should use that eye to control me should I break loose. She slapped him and then hugged him. How could they twist his mind into that? How could they make him think about something that's not him? After those questions, all hell breaks loose. He cried to her chest. He poured all the tears he had. He dropped his wall. He doesn't care anymore. He let her in. Only like that, he put his loyalty to her. No matter what she does, he will always follow her to the end. He got slapped again before Makoto told him about her ideology and that life is beautiful and sooner or later, it will show its colors. He cried again, but this time in happiness. After so much suffering and pain, he knows that he had one person who will always stood by his side and looked at him as a human and her equal. Real time. After that, life was good, and much better for him. She started to train him secretly. She bought him food or ingredients after he learned to cook, provide his daily needs, give a bit of money every week to spend. She knew that he was prodigy, absorbing every knowledge to his brain like a dry sponge. But, he never killed someone again after that night. He said it was his fault that his kunai killed someone. After reminiscing a bit, she found herself on a clearing near the Forest of Death, their first meeting. There, she saw something that boiled her blood. The place was full of blood. Trees were carved with derogatory words. She swore that she could find at least 50 mentions of demon near there. The thing that made her angry the most was a tree in the middle of clearing. There, she found kunais arranged to imitate a stake, some parts were burned, either by jutsu or chemical, some parts were pierced, sign of lightning jutsu. She was angry, furious. She was there 2 years ago and last year, protected him. But that day, she was absent and Naruto had to pay the price, even being subjected to ninjutsu attack. Her Mangekyo Sharingan flared in anger. Not again. Never again. Before she could get angrier, she noticed that his body was nowhere to found. Shit. Where's him? Is she so late that they already throw his body away? Did they buried him into the ground, letting him died of suffocation? Did they zapped him so much his nerve system died and he was thrown somewhere, immobilized and helpless? Did they decapitate him limb by limb and then burned his parts of body with fire? No, he must survive. She will do anything, even seppuku if it was his last wish. She started to shunshin into his house, which was anything but habitable. The place was run down, easily breached, and there was no protection at all around it. She knew his fair share of getting things stolen from him. But every time she brings it up, he always said that it was low profile, so only handful of people who really hated him will come, which is certainly a good point, and the only thing that kept her from demolishing it with her own hand. After she arrived, she immediately opened the door, hoping that any trace of Naruto was there. And then she found Naruto, sitting on his bed, contemplating about something, before his blue. Wait, lavender. Eyes looked at her. She just ran to him and clutched him, then she started to cry. Naruto-kun, she cried, clutching his shirt as if it's her only lifeline, I'm sorry you have to suffer because of me. I'm sorry I'm not fast enough to protect you when you need me. I'm sorry that I have to went to that bastard home and leave you. I'm sorry that because of my weakness, I followed my husband's words and left you alone. I should have been more open about protecting you. I shouldn't be afraid of all of them about how I am to you. I shouldn't be afraid about how I feel for you. She just cried herself to him. Then, she felt his hand leaned her face and forced her to look at him in his eyes, which made her heart tingly and made her face feels on fire. She never felt like this before. Is he a bit taller? I'm sorry, Makoto-san. It seems that Kyubi took over my body and moved it here. When I woke up, I'm just thinking about all of it. What will I do if you were not there with me? I just realized that I was hesitating. I thought about what if they knew about our relationship. They would banish you, called you bad things, doing things that kunoichi like you shouldn't experience. I don't want that. No more hesitating if it what it takes to protect precious peoples around me. Makoto was speechless. Her heart beated faster than ever. Her face was burning up. She felt rush of emotions. A feeling of being protected. A feeling of being cared. A feeling of being appreciated. A feeling of love. So, he said and kissed her forehead, which made her blush, you don't have to worry about me anymore. I will protect you. I will never forget your kindness. I will never forget what happened 3 years ago. It's time for me to pay you back. And for some magical reasons, she found herself really sleepy. She felt her body surrounded by warm feelings. She didn't know whether it was her heart radiating the heat or Naruto's hug that warmed her up. Maybe it was Naruto's doing that caused both of them. Either way, she was content. Her heart soared like never before. And there's no way she's letting this feelings goes away. For the first time since forever, she felt herself truly in peace. She was asleep with only a thought in her head. I also won't hesitate again, Naruto-kun. Naruto's mindscape. Looks like there are quite a difference from our dimension after all, Naruto said with analyzing tone. Yeah, and we haven't seen all of the changes. Kami knows how extensive the changes are. Kurama said while also thinking. There are a lot of difference between his dimensions and theirs. Most noticeable one was the Hyuga affair. Here, Kumo not only tried to kidnap Hinata but also an Uchiha for their breeding stock. Because they were too ambitious, they were caught when they were in action. But, this cost the death of Hiyashi Hyuga, Hinata and Hanabi's father, though in this dimension Hanami Hyuga, Hyuga's matriarch survived the incident because of his intervention, no less. Due to their patriarch's death, the Hyuga have to look for another head of the clan. But until now, Hyuga have yet to found a new head clan. And why you ask? That's because the elders are in deadlock with each other. Ha! How stupid that can be. On one hand, they refused to make Hisashi, Hiyashi's twin, as the head of the clan just because he's a branch member of the Hyuga, while they refused to make Hanami the clan head because they wanted to keep the patrilineality of the clan. Seriously, how stupid they could be. For the clan that almost as old as shinobi history itself, they got to have a head of a rock to be that hard-headed. That explains why they are only noble clan because of their history in Jujutsu. They were too paranoid to change stuff and change the tradition in their clan, while it was blatantly telling him that it was used so the elders can get the power by themselves. Heck, branch members should have been abolished after the forming of Konoha. Second one was about Omegakure. After their previous leader's death, AIM started to open up its isolation and starting to do trading with another country and now with some hidden villages, including Konoha. Rumor has it that many hidden villages aggressively seeking a relationship with them because their mysterious nature and the fact that they produced so many original jutsus and so many above-average ninjas. But, another rumor said that Omegakure was less industrialized now, diminishing their ninja capabilities, although it hadn't been confirmed. This one, Naruto was completely lost with. He suspected it might be Nagato, Yahiko, and Conan's doing. Judging from their movement, it seems like the trio survived the battle with Hanzo and proceed to win. If his theory was correct, this could mean Akatsuki won't exist, or at least exist in different home. He just hoped it's not going to bite him in the ass in the future. The last one was a rumor that piqued Naruto's interest. The rumor that said that the Uzumaki probably survived the Second Shinobi War devastation. This rumor existed due to traders that headed to Wave Country sometimes saw a building was there, not destroyed from time to time. But, because of the whirlpools that keeps any ship to reach the destinations, they could only speculate about the rumored building. Naruto put this on top of his list. He knew that he never even thought about exploring more about his clan and village. He himself felt disappointed and ashamed that he never inherited his parents' or his clan's skill in Fuinjutsu. Now that he could start again and realized how strong Fuinjutsu could be, he would try to go there and try to find something he could learn. Other than that, he's also a bit ashamed as in Uzumaki, he never tried to go there. But, with their area protection seal in form of whirlpool surrounding it, he might have to learn a defensive technique that could withstand the whirlpools. Naruto started to rack his brain. First, he definitely needs to use 10 or so shadow clones to read in the library or other source, such as a restaurant or bar. Hell, he might need to travel between elemental nations to another hidden villages and countries to really confirm that nothing changed more than that. Second, he definitely needs to go to Uzushiogakure as soon as possible. Even if it's in ruins, there must be some safe place where they keep their knowledge. And the rumored building is something definitely to keep in mind. Third, he needs to train with his shadow clones to get his power back. Not saying that he's not powerful now, but training never hurts. He also needs those clones to master sub-elemental jutsus or even making new Kekkei Genkei or God forbid, Kekkei Tota. When he wanted to get out of his mindscape, Kurama stopped him by grabbing his hand. Naruto was surprised and looked at her. Is there something you want to talk about, Kura-chan? He asked curiously. She sighed deeply before saying, I need you to spy on Konoha. Why do I need to spy on Konoha? We could get information from the library. He asked. It doesn't really make sense to spy on the villages he's in right now. Kurama sighed again. Damn it, he's not going to like it at all. I need you to spy on the villagers and their clans, specifically Namikaze household. Naruto was taken back. Damn it, he tried to push this problem as far as possible. He knows that he might lose control knowing that his parents, and recently, his family's abandoned him. He might not kill the entire family, but seeing them neglecting their own child just boiled his blood as a person. He might be an orphan, but he knew that it hurts more to know your family don't even see you as a person. He knew that if Kurama wants to do something he doesn't like, she always had a good reason to do so. Kurama, seeing his face, smiled. This might not be that hard at all. Here, let me show you. Kurama said as the memory projection changed to various images. He saw Kushina. There, he saw Kushina was beating him. Both him and Kurama always have some issues seeing this. It doesn't show her as a mother. No, she was a monster in his eyes. The beating was stopped when Minami get into his room and saw him laying on the ground with bruises covering his face. Ka-chan. What happened to Ni-chan? Minami asked frantically. What monster could even do something like that to her brother? Oh, it's you, Mina-chan. You see, Naruto here just got beaten by the villagers and I was trying to heal him. Kushina answered. His eyes knew that Kushina's smile didn't reach her ears. She was trying to get Minami out of there so she could continue. He could also saw her lips twitching, the obvious signs that she's not happy at all. Minami just nodded innocently then asked, Can I help you with it? She asked. Kushina's face immediately fell off, violet eyes filled with anger and her face contorted into a frown. No. I will handle him. You can play with Kasumi. Of course, Minami was shocked. She then said, but. I said get out. She yelled at her and unconsciously emitting a bit of killing intent. Fear. Minami's feeling fear like never before. But, small part of her won't yield. Her gesture showed that she's ready to stood her ground. But then, the memory showed that Naruto asked her to go play, although with hand gestures because his voice was lost because of the screaming. He did, not realizing his entire room was set up like a T&I interrogation room. Minami, seeing his hand, gave up and got out of the room. And then, the beating ended with him almost passed out. Kurama then changed the into small snippets. He then saw a pattern. All of them always had a Kushina in it. And there's always the mention of him in there. And Kushina would always soured. He came into conclusion. His mother hated him for some unknown reason. But then, it changed again into when he saw both Minami's and Kasumi's interaction with Kushina from far away. There, he saw a completely different Kushina. A kind and caring mother. Her smile was so sincere, like nothing could get in the way of her happiness. She never got angry at all. Hell, not even negative emotions were shown. He came into conclusion. His mother loved her sister so much, that it's almost a favoritism. Again, it changed into one of the beating. Here, she was beating him, when Kasumi called her down because she needed to do something urgent. Kushina, like any other, decided beat him, to the point he almost passed out, but when Kasumi said she needed her help learning Kenjutsu, she immediately stopped her beating and stormed into where Kasumi were. He, with any energy and consciousness he was left with, walked limply and saw the same expressions that was shown in last few. He was lost in this one. How could she beat someone with hate, but then showered someone else with love in few seconds? What kind of mood swing was that? Kurama saw his face and knew that he was lost. She decided to chime in and said, "You see what I'm getting at, Naru-kun. It's either Kushina was so good at acting or there are some unknown reasons that she hated you. And you know how Uzumaki are like. And if I to take a phrase from every ninja, look underneath the underneath." Naruto was deep in thought again. If it's all natural, the mood swing is not. It seems like every time he was mentioned, it overrode whatever mood she was in, into hate. And from seeing from his, he didn't see anything that could make her hate him as a person, much less what a mother seen in their child. It just seems like I was designed to be hated by her. He concluded. It was a whole new revelation to him. His mother might not actually hate him. There must be something that influenced her to think that way. He's grateful that there might be a way to build a new relationship. Even after he saw his memory, he couldn't see her as his mother. He could only see her as a victim to something more insidious. And it might be his chivalrous nature or some other things, he would help her not as a son, but as someone else. Deciding to thought about it later, he got out of his mindscape. Naruto's apartment. It was a new day for Naruto. He woke up feeling refreshed and ready. But, when he tried to get out of his bed, he felt something warm tugging his hand. He looked at his hand and saw a pale, smooth hand intertwining with his hand. Wait, smooth. He opened his futon, and there laid Makoto Uchiha, sleeping peacefully. Holy shit. Shit. What the did they do last night? He remembered sorting his memory and comfort her, but that's not about sleeping in each other's arm kind of stuff. Shit. Maybe they were really comforting each other. Damn it. A second day on his new life, and he might already have Fugaku and the entire Uchiha clan hunting his ass off. But what about Makoto? Damn. His memory. All of his emotions and memory just seeped right through and he couldn't even fathom the thought of Makoto disgusted and left his life. Makoto, feeling negative emotions and her body shook by itself, woke up. Yawning cutely, in Naruto's opinion, she saw where the source of the movement. It was Naruto. Now, it's not a problem for her. How could it be? She could be in peace while sleeping since God knows when. And the thing about him is just so endearing. She could see his face, devoid of fear that she knew he slept with, and that's not counting his ultra super cute sleeping face that looks like a kit sleeping. Yes, a kit. Naruto has this charm that his face looks like a fox. It might be Kyuubi inside his body, it might be his genes, but whatever it is, his face looks like that. And she isn't complaining at all. But then, she saw Naruto's eyes. She must be dreaming or something really happened in the forest because his eyes are actually lavender. Again, she's not complaining. While his cerulean blue eyes shone like a refreshing blue that it seems sun shines through them, his lavender is tantalizing, hypnotizing, calming, and it seems to look deep into her soul. But then he saw the area around his eyes. They radiated fear and fright. Why did that happen? It's not like they sleep toget. Then it clicked in her mind. He showed fear of doing something that he might can't control, doing things that they might regret forever. She frowned on that thought. Her ball of sunshine was troubled by the thought of that. He was too good for casual. He wasn't the man of one-night stands. She would never do anything that would ever hurt everyone that was precious to him. But what makes her heart broke a bit was because he was frightened. This man, who shows her love and care, who shows her that life's worth fighting for something, who shows her the pain of the world, was frightened that she would be disgusted and left him alone again. Preposterous. Heresy. Not even in 1,000 years that she would even think about it. In a speed that even Naruto couldn't see, she hugged him. She patted his head, showing him that everything is alright. Shish. Nothing happened last night. Don't think about it, she said to him. Naruto was surprised and relieved at the same time. He doesn't have to witness her walking out her life. He hugged her tightly, not going to let her go, physically and mentally. He knows that he would be a head over heels after he got the memory. Seeing through the memory, he knew that he was falling in love with her. What he felt was familial love, but this Naruto doesn't know the concept of that. He knew that it would be an unrequited love. But he would be damned if he doesn't protect her. Thank you, Makoto-san. Please don't go away from me, he said with a somber tone. No, I would never think about it. I will always be there for you, she said with a smile and hugged him again. While they were hugging, she pondered about the thought. More that she thought about it, it doesn't seem too bad. He shows her love. He was a gentleman to the end. None of that casual or those kinds of stuff. And even if he was, she would be okay. He already does so much to her anyway. But in an instant, her heart throbbed in pain. No, she doesn't want that. She wants them to be special. She found herself hating that idea. Not about whose he will be doing that, but the fact that he could just toss her away like a trash. No, Naruto wouldn't do that. But the feeling was there. She was crestfallen. She was disappointed that she would thought like that. And all of that was ignoring the metaphorical giant sign of 8 years old, you sick. Meh. She saw a new genin headed to red light district and came out with happy face while visiting Naruto, so that's not really something that bother her, but definitely something to keep in mind. Naruto saw her visage changed into the same expression he was. But he saw desperation in there. Then, he knew that she needs confirmation like him, but in different matter. She wants to reaffirm that he would be always there for her and wouldn't treat her like a disposable trash. It was his turn to assure her that she won't have to worry. Me too, Makoto-san. You should depend on me more in the future. Didn't I promise you last night? He said and grinned. Something in his words struck a chord in her mind. I think I could tell him about my problem. After that, she broke the hug and told him anything about her family problems. She told him that Itachi Uchiha was in fact Izumi Uchiha, and Itachi was just an identity she used to avoid capture and things worse than death when the Third Shinobi War waged on. It's just that even after the Third Shinobi War, she still used that cover, saying that being woman was too risky for her job. But Makoto knew that she yearned to be a woman again. She saw her looking at girls or another kunoichi, not because she was lesbian and definitely not about adding another fangirls into his fan club, but because couldn't find her own inner peace. She just wanted to make her parents happy that she was growing into a good kunoichi, but most of the time, she would have to kill someone again, and that reminds her about the war and all of innocent people have to pay just because of humans' greed and fear. Countless shinobis and kunoichis have to get through hell and back just for a piece of paper that shouldn't even exist in the first place if people could just respect each other and fulfill their rights and responsibilities. Makoto knew about Izumi's principle, but until now, all she could do was hoping that she would be home in a peace and reunited with her family again. The second one was about her family. She was worried about Sasuke. With his father keep telling him about the curse of hatred and baiting him with training, she was worried that it might turn into a time bomb in the future. His father was famous, or rather, infamous for being typical Uchiha. And with Sasuke being in such a young age and one of possible clan heir, his father and the council will choose Sasuke over Izumi anytime if Fugaku could turn him, and the possibility that the council won't overlook the fact Izumi was female would just destroy the chance of Izumi being the clan heiress. And even if Izumi was the clan heiress, the council would just marry her with some other Uchiha or another clan's member and turn them into a puppet and probably a breeding stock for them, if they had a Kekkei Genkai. Thankfully, she had still quite a while for this problem to rise, and Izumi, Itachi, was able to keep her father's indoctrination in bay. The third one, well, she was a bit reluctant to tell him. Well, that's because it was about her and Fugaku. She knew that by basically telling this to another man, she was indirectly waving a divorce paper on their face. But when she remembered his treatment towards his own family, why the shit did she have to consider him? She even told herself that she won't hesitate anymore. Then, she told all about their family. She told him that her life wasn't the most colorful one. As a mother, she felt as she was going to fail both of her children. As a woman, she can't help but feel angry that Fugaku doesn't even notice her, from time to time. She knew that she herself wasn't that bad. She remembered the first year in Konoha. She was pretty sure that paper production increased in Konoha due to how many scrolls, love letters, fan mail, all of those stuff that she received. Even after few months of her marriage, she still received quite a lot. Well, she was kind enough to told them off, even though it has some of Uchiha's haughtiness in it, so they stopped pestering her. Whatever it was, it's been a while since she received any. But even after all of those letters, Fugaku just wouldn't notice how lucky he was. She knew that he cheated on her back. It used to be an Uchiha women, but recently due to her influence, the women of her clan always avoided Fugaku with whatever reasons they had. Nowadays, he was playing with a civilian council's family member, or even some smaller clan members. And as a wife, she couldn't help but felt sad and disappointed. Sad that her family was just not there. As hard as she tried, her husband won't cooperate at all. Always putting his clan in front of anything and everything, even his own family. Preaching about the greatness of Uchiha, while ignoring his wife and children. And disappointed, by well. What's it, Makoto-san? Something bothering you? Naruto just asked innocently. Makoto on the other hand was blushing like a tomato. How could she tell him that her life isn't the most exciting one? How could she tell him that her life is even staler than unsalted seaweed? Nothing, Naruto-kun. I was just thinking of something else. She said to him, blushing. Inwardly, she cursed to herself. Damn her stutter. If Naruto caught the meaning behind her stutter, this would turn awkward. Really, really awkward. And with him living in Red Light District, she knows that it doesn't take a genius about what she was talking. And he does. But with all of stuff she told him, it made him even angrier. Fugaku basically made Makoto's life a living hell. Not only she has to take care of her 2 children alone, she has her pride as a woman diminished and a happiness as a wife was not there. But what's made him even madder was the fact that Fugaku was cheating behind on her back. That son of a bitch was having with someone else while his wife was left, neglected, and even by then, she never tries to do anything. He has a good wife and woman, yet he took it for granted. Oh, he will pay for that. No one's mess with his precious people. He could make another woman happy, but not his wife. What an irony. Naruto decided to do what he did with Kaguya. hugged her from behind and looked into her eyes. He wants to comfort this woman in front of him. This might not be the right way, but it pained his heart to see her desperately looking for comfort. This isn't the Uchiha Makoto, the Raven Goddess, or the Black Reaper of Konoha, the only Uchiha rivaling Uchiha Madara, the strong woman with beauty that screams divine and untouchable. No, she's now just a woman looking for love, comfort, and intimacy that only her and someone she loves share. Makoto was first surprised by the sudden hug. But when she looked down into his eyes, everything inside her feels like on fire. The eyes, those lavender eyes, hypnotize her, pulled her into an everlasting state of peace and calm. But when his hands snaked into her body, she whimpered. Oh, how his touch was so alluring and erotic, very conflicting with his calming eyes. And guess what? It turned her on. Like, really turned her on. Oh, how his hand touched some of her body, a seemingly innocent touch, but how his hands moved are really suggestive. How she imagined herself to be touched on those places like that, with passion and love by the person she loved the most. How his legs played intertwined with hers playfully, but his position was suggesting something more. And then she just realized how his body covered only some part of her torso, but she felt his muscle massaging her body in a way that made her whole body yearned. Makoto, for the first time, feel the urge to release everything that's been pent up inside her for so long. She doesn't care anymore, whether the fact that an 8-year-old just conquered her through and through, nor the fact she was the clan matriarch. To hell with her marital status or her so-called husband, she needed her release. And she did just get that, but in a way she doesn't expect. Naruto just climbed up to her head and whispered with a voice that makes her hot like nothing else. I can't do anything more than this right now. But, if Kami-sama allows it, I will make you mine and mine alone, Makoto-chan. After that, she felt everything around her turned white. She felt her body flew into the heaven, an eternal bliss. She just passed out with a satisfied smile. Makoto just had an orgasm without Naruto doing anything to her body. Naruto then put Makoto into the futon again and took a bath. What information she gave really changed the battlefield. First, about Itachi, or more precisely, Izumi. Naruto was definitely shocked to hear that. They were more or less the same. Both were definitely a pacifist thrown into a wrong